So in this session, we'll see Oracle Fusion Cloud, Groovy scripting. Okay, so how to write Groovy scripts, and where do we use these Groovy scripts, and so all these concepts we'll see from start, like starting from defining variables and uh, using it. So before that, when we come to Groovy introduction, so we need to use this Groovy for extending our application. Like whenever we need some backend logic to be performed, so we need to use this Groovy. So where we will use this Groovy means to calculate custom field, custom formula field. So in formula fields, we need to use Groovy, and to calculate some field values, right? So especially in default value. So in field creation, we have, for every field we have a default expression, default value. So we can use expression, Groovy expression, to calculate that value. And for updatable conditions, required conditions, and then hidden properties in at page level. So in these places also we need Groovy. And also when we write object workflow to trigger some logic or to send a notification, so we need to specify the condition. So in that places also we will use Groovy. And especially uh, uh, so the first these things, right? So here we will use less Groovy. It's sometimes, mostly it's sometimes some 1 or 2 lines, or mostly 4 or 5 lines, because these are expressions like uh, simple expressions. Usually these are simple expressions, but when it comes to the below, right, longer scripts are field level validation rules, object level validation rules, and triggers, object functions, and any global function. So in these places, we will use long scripts. Okay, so these are the places, right, where we will use the Groovy. So in coming sessions, we'll see in the application each and every section. Okay, so and one more point, like by default, we can write 400 lines, right, to to not exceed. So within this limit, we need to write. So to simplify that, we have a option of object functions. So we will split this that bigger code, longer scripts into this object function, and then we will call uh, like this. So each part of code can be called as a one object function. So we'll go through that one by one. So in today session, mostly we'll go through defining variables concept. So just like another other languages, so this is also mostly similar. It's almost same, we can say. Uh, so to define any variables, right? So we need these variables to use somewhere in another calculations. So For example, we'll put this counter equal to 10, right? So why we need to define this variable is to use this particular value in somewhere. So in this case, the value is 10, but later uh, later point of time, so we may change this counter value to 15 or 20, so depending on the need. So for that reason, to make the values dynamically, so we need to use the variables. And within this variables, we have different data types. Uh, it can be number data field, or number variable, or text or string variable, date time, uh, and also date time. Then we have other data types like boolean. So like this, we have other data types as well. So if we don't know the data type, right? We don't know if we don't know the value is whether it is a string or number or any other type. So we so here Groovy allows just with a keyword called def. So with the def, we can define any variable, and then we can assign any data type of uh, value. So in this example, so with the def only, we can create a number, string, date or date time, or any other. So like this, we can define any other value. And also, Groovy allows to create a different data type specific to that data type. For example, integer counter. So so whatever we enter here, right? So uh, it will be in the format of integer. And same way we can define using string salutation and then hello. So because this value is uh, string, and this is a date, so now is a date, and it stores in date format. Okay, so like this uh, we can create the date variables. So few more things we have in variables. Okay. So the other types, right? So like long and date, boolean, double, float, big decimal. So these are also some other data types. So all of these data types will use depending on our need. And also we have list or array. So this is nothing but array or list. So if we define with the square brackets, so it is empty list. And if we define like this with colon in between, so this will be a map. So this is an empty map. So the difference between array and map is array can store only single list of values. Map can store pair of values. For example, like ID and value in we can store here. We can store in map. Here we can store either IDs list or names list, something like that. So even defining variables. So we can first define the variables, and then we can reuse whenever we want. So that is also uh, uh, there is an option, or we can define with a value. So in that way also we can define. So if we don't give any value, it will be null. So the default value will be, if we don't if we don't give any default value, the default value will be null. And suppose if we want to convert one data type to another data type, right? So then how to convert is, we have these options. So uh, suppose from some script or some value, this 10 came as a string value. Okay, so the value is coming as string, but we need to convert that to integer. So how we can convert is using this format. We'll use def. We can use def, or integer also we can use, and then we can convert. So if we use def, uh, we might need to use this 10 as integer. But if we so other option is also integer counter equal to 10. So whatever value, right? So something like, if we put colon, so it will be string. So this string will be automatically converted to integer. Or other option is we can use def counter equal to value dot to integer function. So this is also a method. So where we can convert integer to a string value to integer. So this is case maybe like age underscore c is a field that is a text field, and it stores any value, right? So but if it is a number, so we will convert that uh, to integer, and then we'll store it. So the same way we can apply for other types as well, for long and for string. So dot to integer, dot to long, dot to string, or as string, as long, okay, as double, as as float, something like as big decimal. So like this we can apply. And some important notes while defining variables are, so these variables, right, whatever we use here, these are called variable names, right? So these are case sensitive. So we need to define with a proper name, uh, so that can be that should be meaningful. And uh, so it should be something related to the value. So like that we need to define the variables. And we should not give space in between the variable name. So like count or con party ID. So like this, it doesn't support. So it should be without space. So if it is a string value, so we always need to surround it with a single or double quotes. So example, uh, like def So something like this. So it should, we should surround it with single quotes or double quotes. And one more important thing in real time, right? So whenever we want to define the variables, so we should define outside loop, outside of while or for loop. So the reason is, so every time when it is looping, it don't define every time. So instead, what we can do is, we will define outside or before while loop, and then we'll use it. We'll just use inside the loop, like def variable, like def name, like this will define, and then when it comes to for loop, for I equal to 0, some condition. Right here, so here we this definition shouldn't be here. So instead we need to define this variable outside, and then we need to use this same variable, this variable name, and then we need to define something like something like this. So the same applicable for while loop as well. Okay. So this is about variables. So here we'll see some examples for map and list. So suppose if here some contact names. So how it looks is, suppose if you want to add some value to uh, this map, this list, so we need to give the map array name or list name dot add, and then we can use something like uh, something like this, some string. So it will get added to this list. And suppose if I add one more, so now we have two values. So now if I print contact names, so like this, if I print, so the result will come like this. Uh, so it will print, because it is a string, it will be in this format. So it will be in this format. So same way we can remove, and we can perform other operations on the same list. So when it comes to map, how map looks like is, suppose I have a these are contacts, right? Contact IDs. Uh, so how I can add is, contact ID dot so map name dot so contact ID equal to 1. Okay. Or name equal to contact names dot contact name equal to some value. Okay, so this will store like this. So now if I print this names, so it will be like this. Contact name with value, comma. So this is one pair. And the next pair is contact ID with value 1. So so the map will be formed like this. Suppose if we want to define not with the empty map, right? So how we can define is uh, the same one. Okay. Let's say, so if you don't want to use this add method, right? So we can directly also define. Uh, so like this also we can define, we can default the values. So this is the empty map, and this is the map with default values as Sunil, comma SK. And further, if we want to add, so we can use this line to add further to this map, to this list. Similarly, we can also define map the default map values with here. Okay, so this is the map with the default values. And why we need to convert the data types, right? So let's say age underscore c is a text field. So if we don't put this, if we don't convert, so this is a text field, right? So this text field, if we use in the conditions, so this is a text and this is a number. So it doesn't it doesn't evaluate. So to evaluate, we need to convert LHS side and RHS side into one data type. So when we put this dot to integer, then it will convert to integer data type. Then it will become same data type, and then it will evaluate. So otherwise, it always gives false, and it never comes into this loop.